Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. This is your match preview. Brentford versus Manchester United in the Premier League. Play the kids. Just play the kids. Please, Ruben. But look, we're going to talk about some of the talking points and some of the issues we could get into potentially coming into this game. Is it a write-off? Should we be going out and trying to win the game? We'll give our predicted 11 and, of course, a score prediction as well. Please do smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And let's jump right into it. Right, guys, 4 games left in the Premier League. Brentford away from home. Not the easiest of games, it's got to be said. And look, we're not going to go too in-depth here like we normally do with match previews because, look, we know the Europa League is the priority here. And what an amazing result we got away to Bilbao midweek. And, you know, give us a little bit of a spring in our step. It really does. Now, again, Ruben Amorim has been very direct after the Bilbao game when he was asked about potentially, you know, starting players on the weekend against Brentford, and he says we need to be really careful with our players against Brentford. He says, and he takes Mazraoui as an example, he says he cannot play on Sunday versus Brentford. He's on the verge of injury. And look, an awful lot of players have, you know, played a hell of a lot of minutes, it's got to be said. Bruno Fernandes was, you know, talking a little bit on the opposite in relation to what Amorim was saying, and, you know, he was asked about, you know, potentially being rested and not wanting to play games, and he has said that, look, Amorim wants me to rest more and not play as many minutes, but he says, look, I've got plenty of time to rest when I die. So you love to hear that from your Manchester United players. But again, look, we know the priority has got to be the Europa League. We've got I won't say a very comfortable lead, but we've got a substantial lead going into the second leg of the Europa League semi-final. But you never know. An early goal in the game for Athletic Bilbao next week, and all of a sudden it could be getting a little bit tetchy and you could be getting a little bit worried. And we've seen Manchester United, of course, against Lyon fall behind, give up 4 goals without response until obviously what happened with Kobbie Mainoo and Harry Maguire scoring in the penalty as well. So look, it is a very important game next week, but you do have to maybe temper expectations for the Brentford game on the weekend. We can't be going out and playing a full team squad, a full team against them, because, you know, you've got to prioritise. You really do. Our best opportunity to get into the Champions League, our only opportunity to get into the Champions League, is of course by winning the Europa League. And look, when we look at the players who started for Manchester United last night, obviously, you know, you could go through an awful lot of them, and you could be, you know, forgiven for wanting to maybe not play any of them. You know what I mean? You really could. And look, we can go from back to front and talk about who could potentially play and who could be rested. Onana in the goal, I think it's probably likely that Binder gets some game time. I genuinely do. The back three, Lindelof played quite well after the first 10 minutes midweek. And again, you know, didn't have an awful lot of mistakes in him. Obviously, he was getting a very tough time with Nico Williams in the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But when United settled into the game, I think he could potentially play minutes. It all depends on maybe how fit De Ligt is to play. Harry Maguire will probably be rested, to be honest with you. Lenny Yoro is young. Could he play? We've got to maybe look at who could potentially come in as well. And we're talking about a lot of young, maybe academy players coming in to fill them gaps. I think when you move into midfield, Casemiro is 100% not going to be playing. He is in the twilight of his career now and needs, you know, as much rest as possible for the big games, and is probably a 1 game a week player. Ugarte, again, I would be resting him also. You know, you've got players there now like Mason Mount that could come back in. It's a shame that Toby Collier is still injured, because he would be ideal for a game like this. But again, you don't want to be giving up too much experience either. We still want to go out and win the game potentially. Wing backs, Mazraoui, as we heard, is probably not going to start at all. I think we'll probably see maybe Luke Shaw play. I think we could see Harry Amas play. You could see Luke Shaw play as one of the back 3, to be honest. I think we'll most likely see Harry Amas playing as well. So that will maybe free up Mazraoui. Dorgu, you know, young, fit, potentially could play minutes against Brentford on the weekend. Into the 2 number 10 roles then. These are the areas that you could potentially look at changing. And again, the number 6 positions as well. Is Casemiro going to come out? You've got Mason Mount to play. You've got Kobbie Mainoo coming back in. You've got Ahmad that's looking for minutes as well. He could potentially play as one of the wing backs. Could you play him as a right wing back and play Harry Amas as a left wing back? There are options there. The number 10s, Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo, in my opinion. I think it's probably the most likely. And then up front, Joshua Zirkzee is missing. So Rasmus Højlund scored last weekend in the Premier League, and then, I thought he had a decent game against Bilbao in Europa midweek as well. So I think potentially he could start the game again, but you want to keep him as fresh as possible also. But again, like we said, we've got Diallo coming back, we've got De Ligt coming back, so they are options as well. You look at Amas, Fredriksson, would you bring maybe Christian Eriksen back in as well, who's another option, and maybe the 6, probably the 10. I think ideally there you would play probably Mount and maybe Eriksen in the 2 number 10s and drop Kobbie Mainoo back into the 6. I say now, just take Bruno Fernandes out. Don't give Bruno Fernandes a minute's playing time on the weekend, because he doesn't need it. And we need to rest him and wrap him up in cotton wool. Aidan Heaven is still out, Diogo Dalot is out, Joshua Zirkzee is out, Martinez and Collier of course are out as well. Could you bring in somebody like Johnny Evans? He travelled with the squad midweek and he's been back in training this week, but he obviously didn't feature in the matchday squad. So is it an option maybe of him coming back in and filling one of them roles? It remains to be seen. But look, nonetheless, I do think we can go out, and put a blend of experience and youth out on the pitch. Could you bring up Sekou Kone? Chido Obi probably comes in the number 9 position potentially on the weekend as well. And again, I think with the players coming back looking for minutes, Mason Mount, Matthijs de Ligt, Ahmad, Eriksen can play, Luke Shaw can play. I do think you can get a good blend of experience and youth into the side, and a team that could go out and relatively challenge, to get a result. Because you don't want to be going out and just tossing off the game. You really, really don't. So I do think we could get a good enough side put out to challenge Brentford for the 3 points on the weekend. Now, Brentford themselves are probably just outside that European qualification race, to be honest with you. They're currently sitting in 11th on 49 points. You look at Aston Villa, they're in 7th at the moment on 57. So, they're 8 points ahead of them with 4 games to go. It would take a monumental turnaround for Brentford to get into European spots. Again, if Chelsea finish in the top 5 and win the Europa Conference League, another Europa League spot frees up. So, Brentford are, they're there, they're right on the cusp. They really, really are. And look, they're not a bad side in fairness as well. But again, I reiterate the fact when it comes to Manchester United, we're sitting in 14th. We're not going to get relegated. It's hard to think that we're on 39 points, with 4 games to go. And we always said that 40 points historically was what you needed to not get relegated. So United have... thankfully there's been worse teams than United. Everton are right behind, 1 point behind. Spurs are 2 points behind. West Ham are 3 points behind. And then, of course, the 3 teams that are already relegated, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton. Thankfully, it has given United a bit of breathing space. But look, again, I reiterate the fact we don't want to be going out just to toss off the game. We want to go out and try and win, pick up some points, move up the table as much as we can. Like we said, it's worth up to €4 million, £4 million per position you finish higher in the Premier League. And again, when you're talking about a rebuild for Manchester United and needing as much money as you can, if we could finish a couple of positions higher between now and the end of the season, it would make a big difference with the money that's generated. When we're talking about a score prediction, guys, again, it's hard to give a score prediction on a game like this when you don't know what kind of team is going to be put out by both sides, to be quite honest with you. Brentford have got nothing really to play for between now and the end of the season. Have they got 1 foot on the beach? Some of their players. United, as we know, are gunning for Europa League only. 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw. But to be honest with you, it could go either way. It really, really could. But we will be live for the game, guys, on the weekend from 1:30. So do join us. It'll be a nice laid-back watch-along. I'm sure we'll be talking about plenty of things other than football, like we always do when Manchester United are not really going for a win, which has been a lot this season. But please do join us for that, guys. Do hit the like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't done so. Comment below your starting 11, and I want to hear your score predictions in the comment section below as well. And do join us on the weekend. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll chat to you tomorrow. Take it easy.